So, good afternoon. This is my friend Jamie Stevenson, and actually a mastermind cohort from Karen Rolf's mastermind, which has been amazing. So, I'm really excited to have you here this afternoon, Jamie, and hoping that you will share with us some of your amazing knowledge about hoof care, in addition to all the other things I know you know.
Cool. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So Jamie, amazing young lady. Jamie's creating a positive change in the horse world by helping people listen to their horses. And in doing that, creating heart-centered, harmonious, trust-based partnerships. Her teaching is focusing on what horses are communicating and provides her clientele with tools and knowledge to identify, address, and eliminate any of the physical or mental issues that may stand in the way of their dreams and aspirations moving forward. To assist equine enthusiasts globally, Jamie, congratulations, has released the Heart Hoof Care online course to educate owners how to evaluate their own horse's hoof care. And this really beautifully blends into what Coherence Horsemanship Institute is trying to make a stand for, or I shouldn't say trying, we are doing, to help people to take responsibility in a different way for their horses' care, for the training of themselves and their horses, to bring together information into one hub so that it's easily accessible, and also to bring as many specialists like yourself, Jamie, into one place for people to access, hear you talk about what you do, and share some of the things that you do with them. And I'm really excited. So we have a launch soon on the soft launch on the 17th of this month. And then actually on Labor Day, we're going to pop out a baby, I guess, and it'll be the hard launch for the site. So I'm really excited for it. And I am so excited to hear what you have to tell us. So I know that really doesn't, I kind of shared what your focus is and what you've achieved as far as an amazing hoof care online course for people to access. But can you tell them, I know you have an amazing background, and when you said what you do in addition to horses, I was like, wow, that's an amazing connection. So if you could just share your background and how you got into doing this, that would be great.
Well, I started my career as a competitive eventing and dressage trainer, and my personal horse, Talon, he began having some behavioral issues on cross country, so he would shut down and just stop. And of course, the traditional competitive mindset is to just train that stuff out of horses. And with Talon, that just did not work. So he kept getting worse and worse. And it eventually wasn't just, competitive issues. It became issues just in our day-to-day work. So the competitive mindset, usually when that stuff starts happening, is, just move on and get another horse. This horse isn't working out. And while part of me said, well, that would probably be easier, the other part of me, I love my horse, and I wanted to figure out why this is happening. This is a horse that I've competed, through the preliminary level, and this stuff started happening as we started moving up the levels. And so that just wasn't really how I wanted to proceed. So at that point, because I wanted to know why, and I wanted to figure out how to help my horse, I started branching out away from, the competitive, more modern styles of working with horses. I started studying literally everything. So biomechanics, psychology, body language, nutrition, saddle fit, hoof care. That's where hoof care came in, and Talon is my inspiration for that, and that's where all of that knowledge in that course came from. And so through that, Talon got better, and I kind of transitioned, I'm like, this is where my heart wants to go. Like, I have to share this knowledge with other people, because it's just, once you see, that behavior was coming it's not a training issue. He was trying to communicate that he was in pain, he was stressed. I was a competitive eventer, I was pushing, trying to accomplish those goals. I kind of, didn't even realize at that stage in my horsemanship that that's what was going on, but it really was. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am today, is through him. And again, that's where everything that I share with the Hoof care came from. So it started with just I had a holistic vet that suggested I look into the hoof care, told me to pull his shoes, and you don't tell eventers to pull their shoes. That's basically like a career ending sentence. But luckily I had mentors that had already kind of made me a little more open-minded to things than maybe some other competitive riders. So I did, and eventually, I got so into it and started seeing the results with my horse that I became a certified trimmer through the Oregon School of Natural Hoof Care, where I met Cheryl Henderson, and she, taught me everything she knows. So a lot of what she shares is in that course as well.
So you're right along the same lines as things that I say about, isn't it amazing when we figure out what's going on inside the horse, how the outside changes?
Oh, absolutely.
A path that you've been on, obviously. So can you talk a little bit about, you obviously had an aha moment and decided to veer away from traditional training and found a more heart-centered way of, like you were saying, listening to your horse, and figuring out through that listening that he was actually having a health issue that needed to be addressed. How did you do that? I mean, we understand that it was his feet, but what was going on with his feet? And was that something that was just so not apparent in riding him?
So that's a big question. So whenever I mention, he had hoof problems, people immediately think, oh, well, he was lame, and he never was lame. We were still jumping and he was fine, other than, we're having some serious issues with a lot of things. It became, so bad at some points that, I was like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to pick up a trot today without having a tantrum. But it became apparent to me when I started reaching out for advice to other people. So like I said, I met a holistic vet who is Dr. Amy Hayek of Animal Chiropractic Education Source. She, made me look at the big picture versus like when you're in competitive mindset, it's very singular focused, I feel like. So she, kind of opened my eyes to, look at his nutrition. Let's look at how his saddle fit. Let's look at how his hooves are. And, I don't think I was fully on board right away. I don't think I would have been convinced if I hadn't seen the positive changes in my horse. So, immediately, he just starts being different. I had nicknamed him the Angry Red Pony, which is really sad to think back on, but I just thought that was his personality, that he was kind of grumpy. But now I'm like,
isn't that strange though, that I see that over and over again, that people will say, well, he's just like that. Oh, well, he's always been that way. Or yeah, a nickname that's kind of, in a sense, not in a sense, it is derogatory, but that because we don't have the knowledge or the information, that it's, we just see the surface issue. We don't know what the underlying problems are.
Yeah. And, there was like, I don't think if I had to reach that point to, I think, be even open to it. And so I want to be able to reach people before they
Yes.
have to reach that point. But like, I totally get it. You know, when you're in that competitive mindset or whatever it is people are doing with their horses, like you don't even see it. So I don't.
I know that you're saying competitive, but
Mhm.
in defense of people that are competitive, I've seen many people who have no desire to be competitive have the same issue.
Yes.
So tell me, Jamie, what was the turning point that made you say, gee, maybe there is something to this? What do you remember what that was?
So I am an engineer, so I document like everything and study it. So, you know, I took pictures of him. Obviously I know him extremely well. I've adopted him from when he was 3 years old. He's been in my life for a really long time. So like I can see the physical changes in the pictures, and I can also just see the changes in him as far as, you know, I had labeled as his personality. So all of a sudden a horse that doesn't even like to be, you know, lightly groomed is suddenly okay with it. You know, that's a big change all on its own. So I think it was really Talon that convinced me more than anything else. You know, had I not seen the really positive changes in him, I probably would have stayed, you know, on the same path I was on. But he was very clear in how it was helping him, both in physical and mental changes.
Isn't it amazing that I believe that horses come to us for a very specific reason, and they're always teaching us something. We're maybe not what we intend to sign up for, right?
No. Most often not.
Well, but thank goodness, right? So now you're educating people globally with your horse care online course, and gosh, what a great way to be able to share that information with people and be able to hopefully, I hope you continue and have more information for people to follow.
That is the plan. So hopefully this was, you know, my first stab at it, and I'm pretty happy with how it went, and I want to keep doing it. So I'm sure I'll keep putting out more and more things that I've learned, you know, through my own journey that can help other people.
Very nice. So where are you? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask you that to begin with.
Okay. I'm located in Fincastle, Virginia, which is Southwest Virginia. So it's
Oh,
beautiful
beautiful.
mountain area.
Nice. Well, that's a long ways away. So do you have a way for, I know that you have your website and that has your course there. What other ways do you connect with people virtually, or do you yet?
My next thing that I am setting up is an online membership program. So I'm still working out the details on that, but that'll be where I'm hoping maybe to be able to, you know, get ideas from students on things they need help with. And then throughout the month, I can post, you know, different informational videos and training videos, or, you know, whatever subjects people are wanting, where they can use me as a resource through that.
And so what about people, can you help people that are having, they already know they have a hoof issue? Is there a way that you can help them online?
So I don't have anything officially yet, but I mean, if people are having a specific problem where, you know, they want input on their horse, I guess I could probably set up something where, you know, they could send me some actual pictures of their horse's hooves, and I could give them feedback that way.
Okay. And how about they could probably include a video too? That would be helpful to see how the horse is moving.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of even the whole body shots where you can see the stance of the horse and those sorts of things. And if they do the hoof course, there's actually a section in there where it shows them how to take specific angles of the hoof and the horse. And it teaches them how to do that on their own. But if they
Oh,
need
very nice.
additional assistance, they can always reach out to me for sure.
Yeah, so you have how many years of experience, and then if people need that added knowledge, then to be able to contact you would be really helpful. So, and I'm going to put your information, contact information on here so that people can have that when they watch this particular interview. If you could think of 3 things that you see regularly that are connected to health issue, whether it be feet or neurological or whatever it might be, what's most common? What do you see most?
So when I am, looking at a horse, obviously because I have the knowledge and experience, I can see just from looking at the hooves that there are issues. But typically when a horse is having issues with their hoof care, it's going to present itself in all sorts of different ways. So the horse may be reluctant to go forward. The horse, it may be lame if it's reached that point. And unfortunately, subtle lameness is also a hard thing for people to identify if they don't have the eye for it. But I mean, I would be looking out for, that reluctance to go forward, just in general, irritation, but that can come from so many sources. It's hard to say that that's hoof care, but if your horse just doesn't seem happy in its job, that is a very good indicator that something is going on physically, which could certainly start at the feet. And I don't know, I guess that I just start there, just reading the horse, and anything that is showing up that is labeled by people as a negative behavior is often the horse trying to communicate pain.
Yes.
So I would definitely be just, if you're thinking your horse is having a behavioral issue, never discount that it could be the horse's attempt to communicate pain or stress, as opposed to actually a training issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that makes it easier for trainers. In one aspect is that they're not always blamed for the fact that the horse is having a bad day, but it also lays the burden on them to say, hey, wait a minute, there is something really that needs to be addressed that isn't a training issue. I've had that over and over, so I do know what you're talking about. I think it is a lot more common than what people think.
It's very common, and unfortunately, from my background, again, being I started competitively, it is so overlooked as a reason for behavior. Eventers are, we're strong and bold, and so a lot of times the solution is to ride harder. But I think a lot of times we really need to take a step back and just observe the horse, and when those things come up, it's not necessarily force that's gonna be your solution. It's gonna be what is happening with my horse that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. And I think that the only way really that, and this is so much why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know you're doing it too, trying to make that positive change in the industry, to have people look to that instead of overlook that, and to bring that more to the forefront so that people are really aware of that, so that it becomes commonplace instead of a passing second thought.
Yeah, again, and I think it's great what you're doing, making a resource for people. Still just looking for that magic way to reach people before they, like I said, I had to reach that point where, like, there's something really wrong for me to broaden my perspective. So I think what you're doing will really help, just by, maybe getting to more people that way.
Well, and the only way we're going to do that is together. So I need people like you who have gone through that journey and understand the value of that too. And there is a value in that little bit of hardship and coming to a what I call a BFO, a blinding flash of the obvious, where we go, wow, okay, there really is something I need to change what I'm doing for it to change. So thank you for being on the journey with me and helping and being a part of this. And I'm so excited to share this interview with everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for including me.
Yeah, and thank you for making time out of your busy day. I really appreciate that.
You are very welcome.
Well, and I hope you have a great evening, and we'll sign off. Thank you so much, Jamie, and have a great rest of the day.
All right. Thank you.
All righty. Talk soon.